Hi everyone, it's Marissa. Welcome back to Save. Today I am going to be doing a little presentation I prepared for you guys on the research that Laura and I are currently doing and sharing some of the future projects that we hope to do in the next coming months, years, and however long it takes us. So here we go. Okay. So this is our research. We currently have two main projects that we are working on. The first is the linguistic analysis of victim and survivor that I mentioned during our first welcome video. And the second is a data analysis of sexual assault in the university system. So I'm going to be going through both of these and just kind of sharing like where we're at and some of our beginning ideas for them. And yeah. So for our linguistic analysis, we started by looking at both the definitions of victim and survivor, just like searching on the internet and seeing what we got. So for victim, the definition was a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. And this was from Oxford. So then we went through and looked through both these definitions to see like what we thought about them and how they pertain to someone who has been affected by a sexual assault. So for this definition, we kind of thought it was a little bit too broad. Like the crime part fits, but accident, other event or action, not so much. This definition also allows for victim blaming, which is when people say that it's the victim's fault or in a sexual assault instead of whoever committed the crime. And then also we were talking about the connotations of these words. And when you hear the word victim, you tend to think of a death or life being taken away, more so than someone who is like still alive. And yeah. So then we moved on to look at the word survivor. So the definition we found for survivor is a person who survives, especially a person remaining alive after an event in which others have died, also from Oxford. So the issue we found with this definition is that it provides an immediate sense of empowerment and it dismisses the journey to recovery. So after someone goes through a traumatic event like a sexual assault, it takes time for them to feel recovered. And by all of a sudden throwing the word survivor onto them, they personally may not feel ready to take that. They might not feel like they have overcome the event yet, as they're still dealing with the mental repercussions of it, physical repercussions. And so even though on the outside you want to look at someone as a survivor, this person may not feel like that immediately. And it might put too much pressure on them, or they might feel like they need to be acting like they have to step away from everything that happened already before they're ready to do so. Also, survivor is commonly used when describing crimes with many fatalities, instead of, like when you think of survivor, you think of like bigger incident and you're like, here are those survivors and here are the victims. And it just doesn't really fit necessarily that well, like a sexual assault. So as we introduced before, we decided to combine these two into victim survivor. Victim giving the sense of having a person having gone through a traumatic experience like a sexual assault, and then survivor being them post their recovery or on their journey to feeling better about everything that happened and giving them the empowerment that they deserve for going through an event like this. Here is our history in the making. Let me move my little screen here. Yeah, so history in the making. This is when Laura and I came up with Victim Survivor, November 19th, 2019. Yeah, we had a giant whiteboard and we wrote out everything. Some more additional stuff to what I've been talking about. And then we came up with this new word. So now I'm going to move on to the data study. For this, we began looking at the UC system data. the best report we found from this was the Public Accountability Report. So this is published by the school that gives an overview of the Title IX cases, not just sexual assaults, but just overall. It just has a bunch of pie charts, and there was a lot lower of a number than we kind of expected when we went through it. And when we looked more carefully at it, we saw there was only 45 open cases out of 962 reports that the Title IX office had received. So this was a little interesting because we're like, what happened to all those other cases? There was a lot that were mentioned as closed, but they didn't really say what happened. And yeah, this document was a little bit vague in everything that it said. So we kind of decided to just move on and look at a little bit of a bigger scale. We started looking at the National University System. So just looking at the American Association of Universities, the AAU, they conducted the Campus Climate Survey in 2019. There was also a 2015 survey. So this compared 21 schools from their survey results in 2015 to their new results in 2019. This document has 433 pages, and we are currently going through page by page, writing down the data that they have and just trying to examine everything they have reported. So this is definitely the overall most comprehensive report that there is on data pertaining to sexual assault in the university system at any level, but it does not break down any of the data by institution. There's no names or labels on any of it, and it's really difficult to follow. There's just a lot of graphs. It's just, and they're kind of confusing. It takes a while to even know what they're trying to say. Yeah, it's really difficult, and you can't get specific information, so there's also a limited number of schools. This is still only 21 schools out of the entire country. So this is still a lot missing, and there's a lot more work that needs to be done. So the future directions of our research, some of the projects that we have come up with, how does this problem compare between the United States and other countries? Also looking at, is this such an issue in other countries? We have not yet tried to even look at data from other countries around the world. So we're interested in what they're doing. Maybe someone has figured this out already. I have no idea. We're excited to look at that and see if we can take anything that any other country is doing and apply it here and see if that makes a difference. And then moving on, how can this be stopped with a lack of reporting, and how can we increase reporting rates? There's a lot of stigma around reporting sexual assaults, as well as a knowledge or preconceived notion that the system doesn't do much for people who report a sexual assault. And sometimes people don't want to report for any of their reasons that they have. And it's hard to know the overall seriousness of the issue or present data like that with a lack of reporting. But there's also no great way to make a data statistic on this. So we want to look at how we can increase that rate if possible, and also how we can try to put an end to this with this lack of reporting. And then another one, how does one's upbringing affect if they'll report, and how they're affected by a sexual assault? Just if someone's raised differently, are they more likely or less likely to report? What will the emotional impacts of the sexual assault be on them? Maybe looking at different support systems in situations like that. And then, has technology influenced and changed this problem? Social media, just different apps have done a lot. And there have really been no studies done on any of this because it's all so new, and we don't know how any of our new technology has affected sexual assaults. Possibly even looking at some sort of virtual sexual assault scenario that really doesn't have a label yet, and looking at if that could possibly be labeled as a sexual assault, and what we can do to try and limit the number of occurrences of that. And also, is there a solution? I don't know. That'd be really cool if there is, but we have a lot more research to do. As you could see, this is just 4 main projects. We have a Google Doc of like a whole page of these listed, and we need to just work through them and find out all we can. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you want to get involved with any of our research, have ideas, anything, want to share anything, any opinions, experiences, feel free to contact us on Instagram at Save Research or email us at researchbysave@gmail.com. We really appreciate everyone who has supported us thus far. Also, feel free to share with your friends and family or anyone you know who may be interested in supporting us, or anyone who has anything to say. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching and have a nice night. Yeah, we will see you guys later.